सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। टुगेदर। मनो हि द्विविधं प्रोक्तं शुद्धमेव च अशुद्धं कामसङ्कल्पं शुद्धं कामविवर्जितं मन एव मनुष्याणां कारणं बन्धमोक्षयोः बन्धाय विषयासक्तं मुक्तं निर्विषयं स्मृतं यतो निर्विषयस्यास्य मनसो मुक्तिरिष्यते अतो निर्विषयं नित्यं मनः कार्यं मुमुक्षुणा। Where is this? I'm having little difficulty finding the here. Yeah. Nirasta vishaya sangam sanniruddham manohridi yadayatyatmano bhavam tada tatparamam padam tavadeva nirodhavyam यावद्धृतिशयं यावद्धृतिगतं क्षयम् एतज्ज्ञानञ्च ध्यानञ्च शेषो न्यायश्च विस्तरः। Yesterday was an important class. Yesterday we saw from the level of from the standpoint of the vision. From the standpoint of the vision, what this nirasta vishaya saktihi and that what happens and how the process of the mind that is resolved in terms of the longings and so there is some kind of a concomitant relationship between the setting of the longings or the pressure to keep gaining the pressures exerted by the desires to keep fulfilling them and the rise of the clarity of one's own self. So the rise of the clarity doesn't mean that the clarity is just somehow coming. No, it's not that it's suddenly appearing. It is there as a potential. That clarity is there as a potential. That clarity is moksha. That clarity is called Atma Jnanam. But that clarity is not clear. That's all. It's like when you put the butter on the stove to make ghee. Yeah. If you haven't tried that, please try that, because this will really illustrate what we talked about yesterday. Because when you put the butter first, and you shouldn't get this, American butter, no fun, yeah. In most states in America, to sell raw butter is outlawed. It's illegal because, it may have some, listeria and other milk-related germs and bacteria. So they don't sell. Everything is, pasteurized out of existence till the food is, Anyhow, still so many things are keeping on being recalled. That's a different discussion. Not going there now. And so the raw butter, when you get and put it on the stove to make ghee, in the beginning it protests. Yeah. It's all kinds of spluttering sounds. This is the mind with Vishaya Sakti, and kind of a very funny odor comes, very bad odor, because all the impurities are being what? Evaporated in the fire for the butter, in the fire of knowledge, here for the mind. So first it makes fluttering noises, so many, you feel like going out of the room, partly because of that smell and that noise. And then you go away, and then you come back, and then it's quietened down. And all the impurities have sunk. They haven't gone away, but they are not, they are not interfering anymore. The impurities have sunk down, and then what you see is clarity. That's why it's called clarified butter. So the same thing here with the mind. There is some kind of a, inverse concomitant relationship, that the greater the lack of clarity, the greater the longing, and the greater, not inverse, direct concomitant relationship, the greater the lack of clarity, it's connected to the presence of the longings, the presence of the longing for that particular, object, issue, belief, whatever those things are. So we have seen this in detail yesterday, that in this verse number 5, verse number 4, no 5, there are certain conditions given, 4, certain conditions given. 3 conditions are talked about. One is the longings are slowly coming down. The longings and the dependence on the objects are coming down, and then the mind is settling in the heart, so to speak. And the heart here was described yesterday from Paramarthika Drishtya, from the standpoint of the knowledge. The heart is the Vastu, the heart of the matter. It is the seat of the I, not to be confused with the I thought. The I thought is the recognition, not just the recognition of the I, the recognition of the I in terms of the mind. But we have to remember that the I is not recognized always in the mind. In fact, it is the other way around. Because the I is, the mind is recognized. And then the mind takes away all the credit. And the mind says, oh, I am, I'm recognizing I am. But the mind is not recognizing I am. The I am is independent of the mind. But the I am is often, recognized as a thought, as the I thought. And the I thought then is, with reference to the mind, becomes its own entity called I-ness, ahankara, and that bosses everybody around. Yeah, bosses the mind, the emotions and everything. And then I am, and it falsely, it overlays itself on the I, and then masquerades as the I. This is the problem. Yeah. So therefore, sanniruddham manohridi means that this ahankara is bypassed. What is this ahankara? Again, if you do a biopsy, it is nowhere available. It is called, the definition of ahankara is vicharam nasahate. Vicharam nasahate means cannot withstand enquiry. Like a number of politicians in all countries who stand for elections. All the speeches, after all the speeches have been done, after all the confetti and all these celebrations, the balloons and the confetti, then you start inquiring into the politician. And then what you see is one scandal after another scandal. Correct? Yeah. This is what the ahankara is. It's a lot of fanfare, lot of publicity. It's always grabbing the mic, the ahankara, and it always wants to push itself to the forefront. It is very good at giving speeches, it's very good at convincing everybody, including itself. But it really doesn't exist. All you have to do is really, talk to it and see what is it that I'm voting for here. I mean, if I'm rooting and voting for the ahankara, where is this ahankara? And as soon as you start doing an enquiry with the help of the Shastra, the light of the Shastra, it scurries away like a frightened cockroach under the sofa and you don't find it at all. That's what it is. Vicharam nasahate, it disappears in the light of enquiry because it is mithya. And so, the real meaning of, sanniruddham manohridi means that ahankara, which is the star of my everyday activities, because it is the one who wakes up, it is the one who says, I am in charge, I am the doer, I am the karta, I am the bhokta, I am the pramata, I am the knower, I am the thinker, I am the hearer, I am this, I am that, I am that. Forget what you are. I am. It is riding on the I am that is self-evident. It is riding on Atma, which is I, and that I am being self-evident. It is borrowing the I am in order to strut around like even the crow that went uninvited into the peacock convention. Yeah. Then what happened? Everybody knows. What happened? It read a board. Only peacocks allowed. And the crow said, oh, this is very inconvenient. I want to see what's going on there. It's a peacock convention after all. But crows are very intelligent. It looked around and the peacocks were dancing very merrily. And there was a bouncer peacock right there at the gate. It looked upon the crow like that and ran after it to peck it. And the crow went through the back gate, and saw that in their dancing reverie, the peacocks had dropped a lot of the feathers. So it went and planted a few feathers. And then it too, what did it do? Slid into the convention. And if the peacocks thought that this is a very strange peacock, size-wise strange, feather-wise very sparse, not at all well endowed, and dancing steps don't even talk about it. All off. The peacocks are very graceful when they dance, and this one was just, shameless. And if they thought that, they were too polite to say anything. But then the crow forgot itself. It was also following the steps of the peacocks. And then what happened? The feathers fell off one by one, and the crow was oblivious to the fact. It thought it was the peacock, and it thought, I'm just having such a good time. And it went also to the worm buffet and picked a few things, seeds and worms, whatever was there on the buffet. It was having a wonderful time. And then when the last feather fell off, it was pecked out of the convention. Same thing here. The Atma the Ahankara takes on the characteristics of the Atma in the sense of the I am, and it overlays itself so much so that one starts believing in it, and one starts thinking that this is, without this I'm not existent. The I notion is the one that replaces replaces the I. It masquerades and replaces the I, and so the I, the Atma, like I said yesterday, the I is not the I that we are talking of. The I that Vedanta unfolds is not opposed to anything, including the Ahankara. It accommodates everything, like even space. The definition of space is avakasha pradata, that which accommodates. So the Atma even accommodates space. Think of how accommodative it must be. It accommodates, it's very commodious because it's not opposed to anything, and everything that it accommodates is not at the same level of reality, so it's not threatened by what it accommodates. This is what we have to understand. What it accommodates is not a terrorist. Even though the ahankara behaves like one, it's not that the Atma is allowing this terrorist to infiltrate. No. The terrorist is as though, because everything it accommodates is as though. So really speaking, just like space is not threatened by all the objects in it. And if you put a few more objects in space, space is not going to say, I'm running out of space. Not possible. Because space belongs to a different level of reality than the objects in it. Correct? So therefore, here too the same thing we have to see is that the I accommodates the I notion. And the I notion takes that opportunity and runs and tries to run the show. And so here, the disengagement with the I notion, the ahankara, is what is being talked about. Mano, mano nigraha or sanniruddham manohridi. It's not mind control, it's not, sinking the mind into the heart. That's not cannot be taken literally. We have to take it, in the light of the Shastra. And the Shastra recommends seeing this and understanding this from the standpoint of, the I notion and the I. So the I notion relaxes. But how to make this I notion, the ahankara, relax? If you try to make it relax, very difficult. So then what to do? Outwit it. Yeah. Yeah. I am the one who is meditating. Yeah, we know that. All right, just keep saying Om Namah Shivaya. And then Om Namah Shivaya is itself out of existence. You don't have to do anything. Yeah. And even in the so-called non-meditative state, you just tell it, yes, we know you are great, but I'm not talking to you right now. I just am. Oh, so what shall we do right now? Nothing. Oh, so we're going to sit here? Yes, I'm the sitter. Okay, you be the sitter. Keep sitting. So the ahankara is the one who is coming to class, really. Because the body cannot be ignorant. The body is inert. An inert, object cannot have knowledge or ignorance. This opposition is not there. So the body is inert. The body doesn't need to be quote unquote enlightened. The mind is also inert. The mind, is blessed by Chaitanya, is blessed by consciousness. That's why it gains a borrowed sentiency like the peacock example. And then what? The senses are not coming to class. It's not that, we are having chappan bhog here. Chappan bhog means for Lord Krishna every day, 56 varieties are made for Naivedyam. 56. So you have to wake up at 2. It cannot be said, okay, one day I'll make 10 and the next day 10 and the third day I'll offer it. No. People wake up at 2:30 in the morning and then have 56 varieties. This is in ISKCON they do that. Religiously. Then what to do with the 56 varieties? Open restaurants called Govinda, Gopala all over the country and then sell that as prasad. That's what it is. That's what they do. So, this it's not that the Vedanta class is like a sensory overload. No, it's not that the senses are coming to class. Then who is coming to class? The one that says, I am ignorant. The one that says, I am dukkhi. I am subject to fear, I am subject to strife, I am subject to conflict, I am subject to sorrow. That's the one who is seeking the teaching, that's the one who is coming to class. In its, in its better moments, it recognizes the need for some help once in a while. In its vulnerable moment, it says, okay, I think I need a little bit of help. And so that's the one that is coming to class, and in the class it is, it is being lightened of its burden to be the carrier of all the doings and of all the happenings. It is taught you are neither the karta nor the bhokta, and you may think you are the pramata, but you are going to be knocked off in the process of the knowledge. This is what it is. And so, outside of class, you are asked to do the same thing to the ahankara that's happening in the class. Its bluff is being called repeatedly. So each time the pride strikes, and the feeling that I am in charge and I am the monarch of all I survey. And from the center all round to the sea, I am the lord of everything. This feeling, when it comes, that is falsified repeatedly. And so therefore the ahankara is brought down, is tethered and brought down and disciplined, and that disciplining of the ahankara and the lightening, if not enlightening, of the ahankara from its burden that it is the doer, it is the one that is doing everything, and that lightening of that ahankara happens in devotion, bhakti and shraddha and surrender to Bhagavan. And that's why in Karma Yoga we say, what do we say? That it is all Bhagavan. All the actions are Bhagavan, I am not the actor, and everything that I am having in my life, good and not so good, what I consider good and what I consider not so good, is all a gift of Bhagavan. Prasada Buddhi. So that Prasada Buddhi is a very important practice of, letting the ahankara not strain itself too much, giving it a little respite. Sanniruddham manohridi. So then what happens is that the ahankara is now brought back with a new purpose of an attendant. What does it attend to? It attends to the words of the Shastra. Now the ahankara is not a pramata, not a karta, not a bhokta, not a consumer, not a doer, not a knower, but only what? Shrota. That is how. Shrota means listener. So the ahankara is not done away with, because without ahankara there is no enlightenment, there is no self-knowledge. So the ahankara is brought back in the capacity of an attendant. Not the big, the big guy, but a servant. That's what it is. In service of the Shastra, in service of the Atma. And this transformation is what is talked about as the mind sinking into the heart, because the mind here is nothing but ahankara, and that ahankara is, is given a new portfolio. First, all the other portfolios are snatched from it. You are not the doer. Oh, okay. What am I? I'm the knower. No, actually, you're not even the knower. Oh, but I have a PhD. I know so many things. Yeah, that happened because there were so many things in the air that helped you to go and get this PhD. It was given. No, but it was my brain that is also given. Yeah. My memory, that was also given. And this is what it is. It's all a gift. And so to know that, there is a whole transformation that's happening in terms of the preparation and in terms of receiving this knowledge, that is called Sanniruddham Manohridi. And then Tavad, Tada what happens? Or Yada Yati Atmano Bhavam. So Atmano Bhavam is an authenticity, best described as an authenticity of, of one's being. An objective understanding of who I am, what is my place in the scheme of things on the relative level, and on the absolute level, that all that there is Atma. It's an authentic expression of oneself. Here is called Atmano Bhavam. And we have to take it at both levels, the expression on the level of the everyday in my activities, and and also the truth of myself as Aham, which is Jagat Karanam, which is going to be revealed later on in this Upanishad as Jagat Karanam Brahma, as Brahman, as the truth of everything, as that one and only consciousness, as that sentience, as that consciousness which is blessing this body mind sense complex. So that is what is called ayati, gains. It comes. Ayati, very interesting, choice of word. Ayati means it comes. It comes means it happens naturally. Because self-knowledge is not something you go and buy from the market. Moksha is not for sale. Why? 50% off? No. No 50% off. Moksha is not for sale because it is Siddha Vastu. It is Siddha Vastu, Natu Sadhya Vastu. Siddha Vastu means what? It is already gained. It's a gain of that which is already accomplished. Siddha, accomplished. Sadhya, to be accomplished. All the objects that one is in search of are things to be accomplished. Objects, pursuits, relationships, all these things are to be accomplished, yet to be accomplished, to be gained. And as long as the ahankara, along with the mind, the ahankara drags the mind because it's the boss, is after all those objects, the subject is ever elusive because the subject really needs to turn in on itself. Because the subject is searching for itself, but it is after the objects that are finite. And so that's why Nirasta Vishaya Sangam, first condition. Second condition, settle down. Sanniruddham Manohridi. Settle down, let the restlessness go, let this I notion, which is having a little fit, like the early stages of ghee making, let it settle down. Settle down. And then what? Then what happens? The clarity comes. Yada, ayati atmano bhavam. So let that clarity come. And the clarity here is on two levels. On the level of the everyday expression. Because usually what happens is that the everyday expression of oneself is not authentic. It's inauthentic. How is it inauthentic? Because, when you go to see somebody, when you're in a group, you have to hide certain things about yourself. You don't tell everybody everything. Not that is the idea of Vedanta, but still there is a certain way in which the authentic self is suppressed due to the exigencies of, eggshell relationships, for example. Yeah, you are walking on eggshells. Or sometimes you are not walking on eggshells, but the relationship has to be maintained. And, Pujya Swamiji's example is, of course, it's unsurpassable. So that's what I'm going to, share. The significant other goes out of town. And the one remaining behind, is having a party. Because I'm adding my own things to this, story as well. And in the middle of the party, the phone comes of the significant other who is yet to board the plane. And immediately, nowadays, unfortunately, you can tell who is calling because the cell phone has that, the name comes up, name or the familiar number comes up. And so immediately first the music is turned down and this fellow tells the friends, she is calling, stop eating the chips and making crunchy sounds. Shh, quiet. Okay. Hello. Well, oh, you've already reached? No, I'm still on the plane. So, why did you call? You forgot something? No, I didn't forget. Are you missing me? Oh, yes, I'm inconsolable. I cannot be consoled. Oh, good, how much are you missing me? Well, from this city to that city. What is the distance? Oh, that's all? No, triple that. You just, you interrupted me. I was going to say triple that. Only that much? No, quadruple that. Make that to the power of infinity. That's how much I'm missing you. What's that noise in the background? Oh, it's the neighbors. Neighbors are in his house, but he doesn't say that. So you see, he's speaking the truth. It is the neighbors indeed. But there is that inauthentic self for the sake of keeping the relationships going. This is called samsara. We dare not say that, we dare not say what's on our minds. Actually, I'm really welcoming this time. I mean, very, very rarely, in very few relationships, somebody would say this. I'm actually welcoming this time because, I was getting very annoyed with you around. Yes, you're not at fault, but, I was getting very triggered and stimulated each time, re-stimulated by all kinds of things you were doing, and I needed some time away, and you decided to go and, visit your friend exactly at this time, and I'm having the time of my life, and you have OCD, so we are not allowed to have people over, and now that's why I'm having all the people over. And then what happens? The relationship is what is over. So this is what I mean by the inauthentic self due to the exigencies of samsara. It's not that one is lying, it's just that one is making do. Is like, is just allowing things to be. It's not that one is not lying intentionally. Of course the person loves the wife or whatever in the story. The person loves the spouse, and yes, the person given a chance will also miss the spouse, but it's not right now. That's all it is. So it's not a lie on purpose, but it is something, it's more of a inauthenticity of convenience. And if one looks into the life, one sees that there is that inauthentic expression of the self, that one has to, that presentation of the self at the job, the workplace, at the home, with the children, with the spouse, with the friends, there is always this inauthentic expression. And that is not Atmano Bhavam. That is something, that is a persona, that is the personality. And then what other ways, from this is on the Vyavaharika Drishtya, on the level of the Vyavahara means the give and take, the transactional reality. From the standpoint of the Paramarthika, from the standpoint of the truth of oneself, there is also an inauthenticity. And here there is no room for there's no elbow room, there is no space, whatever, because the Atma, from the standpoint of Atma, any delving into Anatma is automatically declassified, is automatically categorized as inauthentic. Correct? So when there is any kind of dealing with Anatma, it is inauthentic because you're not with yourself. That is the whole thing. And so, whether you see it from the standpoint of Paramatma or from the standpoint of the Vyavahara, from the standpoint of the everyday reality, from the standpoint of the so-called manifest duality, or from the standpoint of the truth of oneself, if you are ignorant, you are inauthentic. Ignorance, agrahanam, inauthentic, and then if you have a mistake committed on the true self, on yourself, that is also an expression of inauthenticity. Anything which is not understanding Sat is Asat, inauthentic. Asat here doesn't mean non-existent, I'm using it in the terms of inauthentic, untrue. So from the standpoint of oneself or from the standpoint of the manifest Jagat, one is constantly practicing inauthenticity as long as one is ignorant and as long as one is, in the world trying to upkeep certain relationships from the standpoint of that, driven by that ignorance. I have to add, driven by that ignorance. So that is not Atmano Bhavam. Atmano Bhavam on two levels. First, on the level of my everyday expression, again I get to that place of clarity. And clarity here means courage. Courage, very difficult. But the Upanishad, of course, demands, the best of us. So, it demands the best of oneself. It says, I know what you're capable of, and I'm going to state what you're capable of. And I'm also going to state that if you are able to get to this place of preparedness, this knowledge will not be denied to you. Tada tat paramam padam. This is what it is. Tada tat paramam padam, this absolute goal, the ultimate goal. Brahmavida apnoti param, that param. Param means the ultimate. The knower of Brahman gains the ultimate. Oh, ultimate, I want that. Not frisbee, okay? There is one game called ultimate frisbee. That's not what we are talking about. Ultimate, yeah. The ultimate means that which is always elusive to me, that which I am striving for through all kinds of wrong means, inauthentic means. So the inauthentic means aligned to the authentic goal, it will never lead me to the goal. And the goal being myself, it is not a product, it is very much there. It's not a product. So therefore, it's a gain of something that is already gained. It's more of a gradual, dawning of clarity. When you say the sun rises, where was the sun? Where was the sun? Oh, it was in India. Now it has come and blessed America. Okay, so the sun was not absent, correct? So America, which was in the dark, is now blessed by the rising sun. So that is how clarity is like that. Clarity is a potential, and then it blesses the stupid ahankara that is constantly, sawing the limb upon which it is sitting. It's called self-sabotage. That's what it's doing. So it's not that the sun is absent and it is produced. Oh, every day new sun. No, it's the same sun. Same sun. And so the rising sun is from the standpoint of that particular piece of land which is being blessed by the light. And so the dawn of clarity is with reference to that particular, body, mind, sense complex, that particular ahankara that was in the dark of its own nature. That was in ignorance of its own nature. So the clarity is not something produced or reproduced every day. It is something that is already there as a potential. And when the conditions are right, clarity comes. And that clarity here is called Paramam Padam, the same Param that is there in the Taittiriya Upanishad. This is what is called Samanvaya, is that there is no contradiction between the message of one Upanishad and another. No contradiction. Total, complete, full. And so what? So there is complete agreement and complete clarity. And so here, Brahmavid apnoti param. The knower of Brahman, again there is a condition. Yada, Brahmaveti, Brahmavid bhavati. When the person knows Brahman, tada, what happens? Apnoti param. So that yada tada is not talked about there, but it is very much hidden there. It's a conditional clause. And what is the clause? The clause is that when that Brahman is understood as what? The next line is going to say, nihitam guhayam, understood and claimed as oneself, reclaimed as the truth of oneself, where guha here is the mind. Buddhau, in the buddhi, that Brahman already shines, but the shine is obscured by what? The jungles of longing that are proliferating this buddhi. And then what? You do a little housekeeping and pruning of those longings and the pressures of the desires. You render the desires, and there is a whole ecosystem, all kinds of creepy crawlies are there, all kinds of wild animals are there. So it is a prakrita buddhi, full of all natural disasters. And then you make it a Samskrita buddhi. How? By taking Sanskrit. No. Samskritam means that which is civilized, well done. Yeah. You make it into a Samskrita buddhi, a civilized buddhi, a buddhi that has, that knows what is what, a buddhi that is disciplined, and a buddhi that is geared towards the gain of this knowledge. Tada Brahma apnoti, Param apnoti. And that Param is not away from you. It is the gain of that which is already gained. The same thing is expressed here. Except there it was only one condition. Here there are three conditions. What are the three conditions? What is the first one? Read the verse. Look at the verse. Look at the verse. The three conditions are given. What is the first condition?
Nirasta Vishaya.
Yeah, Nirasta Vishaya Sangam. Allowing the longings to subside. Not longing for the longings. That is called Nirasta Vishaya Sangam. And then, what is the second condition? Yeah. Sanniruddham, disciplining the mind, arresting the mind, and then redirecting it towards Brahman. That is what is that. Sanniruddham doesn't mean just stopping the mind, then we will become Buddhists. So it is redirecting the mind to the truth of oneself gently, because it is directing it away from the longings towards the authenticity of oneself. And then what? Dropping the inauthentic expressions on the everyday, and then what? On the level of Paramarthika, dropping the ignorance. These are the things. So then what happens? Tada Paramam Padam Ayati. That Ayati is there, it should be brought here. Yada goes with everything. Yada Nirasta Vishaya Sangam, Yada Sanniruddham Mano Hirdi, Yada Ayati Atmano Bhavam, Tada Ayati Paramam Padam. Tada yati or ayati, doesn't matter. So the ayati is better. It just comes. It is there. It doesn't walk from somewhere and come. No, it is there like the sun that rises, which was already there over a dark piece of land. Similarly, the clarity dawns on an ignorant mind. Very beautiful. So this is what is the message of all the Upanishads, meaning to the student who is longing for the knowledge, it just gives it all back into the same student's court. So the ball is back in your court. Yeah, the teacher has hit the ball back, along with the Upanishad, hit the ball back in your court. And you say, no, here, take. No, here. Yeah, love all. That's the message. That's how you start the tennis game, love all. You stop there, there's no back and forth here. The ball is forever in the student's court. Oh, but that's not fair. That's how it is. Whether it's fair or unfair, this is how it is. Because it is all based on the extent to which I do the housekeeping and the weeding in the vast jungles of the mind, the pruning of the pressures, the longings, the fears, all that. I have to do some relative housekeeping. And then I have to allow the mind to just be directed towards that the only longing that is authentic, because all the other longings are inauthentic. And as long as I am longing for those longings, I am inauthentic. I am in the realm of inauthentic, because all the longings, why are they inauthentic? Because they don't lead me to the truth of myself. So the longings are inauthentic because I keep longing for the infinite, but I'm going after the finite. Whatever I go after, any object is finite, so it is just adding to the inauthenticity of myself. It is perpetuating the inauthenticity, it is perpetuating inauthentic activities and pursuits, and it is perpetuating the final inauthenticity, the first and last inauthenticity, which is my own self-ignorance. So Atmano Bhavam is the authentic expression of the self in the everyday activities. So I have to direct myself from pursuing what? Pursuing the inauthentic to the authentic pursuit of the I in the form of self-knowledge. But how do you say that's the only authentic pursuit? Why not standing on one leg? Stand on one leg. It's called Vrikshasana. You become a tree, yeah. Because in the last life, this fellow was a tree. So the previous samskaras haven't gone. That's all. Keeps doing Vrikshasana. No comments about down dog. So... Because last life, dog, And that fellow was used to saying, down boy, so down dog, that's all. We are not saying that yoga is ineffective. In fact, this Upanishad is seen as the precursor of all the Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, as we will see. We are not saying meditation is inauthentic. We are not saying yoga is inauthentic. In fact, all those can be aids to the authentic search. And what is that authentic search? Myself. So those are seen as aids, like the ahankara also becomes an aid. That's what it is. I bring them back as a preparation rather than as the goal. Standing on one leg is a preparation. Standing on the head, definitely preparation. Why? Blood goes to the head, and we love that. Clarity of thinking, very important. It's a preparation to the goal which is not away from myself. So this is not, based on karma. It cannot be based on karma, because karma action is always in the service of the gain of something that is to be produced. Action only produces or cleans. That's all it does. And it repatriates you from something that is away from yourself. Those are the limits of action. It cannot give you what is already there. Cannot give you what is there. So therefore, the self-knowledge, because what is plaguing me is that I don't know myself. So I have to know. That is why this is what is talked about, is that when these three conditions are there, then tada ayati paramam padam. That's when the gain of the ultimate will definitely happen. It will happen because it already is. So this is what the thing is. We can have also one more interpretation. Oh, we are not yet done with this mantra? No. We can have one more interpretation of the expression, of the quizzical expression, sanniruddham manohridi. Sanniruddham manohridi means what? Another meaning. What is the meaning? The meaning is, from the level of mentation, thinking, striving, to the level of just being. And to the level of being in a soft place. The heart is a soft place. The mind is hardened because it has got the outer critic, inner cop, outer cop, and they are fighting, blowing the whistle. They are all whistleblowers on all kinds of things. There is unacceptance of one's own self. There is non-acceptance, self-judgment, all these things. So this is what the mind is. The mind is got a whip and it just goes on flagellating itself. It goes on whipping the ahankara. The ahankara is whipping everyone else. It is a mess. Yeah. So take the mind to that soft place of acceptance. Of course, we are talking of relative acceptance. The absolute self-acceptance is a gift of this knowledge, but the relative acceptance is something that I can cultivate. So what is the heart place? The heart space is a place of compassion, is a place of kindness starting with oneself, is a place of clarity, is a place of softness, a gentleness that often gets overlooked in all this study. Study meaning, striving. And that striving which is not given up, even though the mind is directed, the striving is still ongoing. So the striving is directed towards the knowledge with a vengeance. And then the person becomes a tikakara, not that tikakaras are bad, but it's that kind of thing. Like how many times the word Brahman versus the word Atma is used in this Upanishad? Let me count. Oh, Atma is used 7 times. Brahman is used 15 times. So Brahman is more important than Atma. Yes, mind-blowing, literally. And then, this is, such people are good for writing what is called books, useful books, concordance of the Upanishad. I don't know what we would do without them. There is this books called Concordance of the Upanishad in 1 or 2 volumes, I think 3 volumes. And, so it's for people who know all the Upanishads. And if you're recalling one mantra and you want to find out in how many Upanishads simultaneously it comes. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. Upanishadic mantra. Oh, yeah, something it feels familiar. Where? Bhagavad Gita? No, Upanishad. Oh, which Upanishad? Immediately you don't know. Oh, which Upanishad? I think it's in Mundaka. Yes, I'm right. It is there in Mundaka, but somebody else. You're talking to somebody else. No, but I think it's there in some other Upanishads. Oh, let us see. Open the concordance book. And one fellow, who missed the boat of gaining the knowledge, became a counter of the mantras, has counted and helpfully said it occurs in at least 3 Upanishads. And in the Bhagavad Gita in a modified way. Natad bhasayate suryah. Same thing. Which chapter? Quick. 15th. I told you. If you don't know, just say 15. Likely you will be right. This time you are. So this is how the whole thing is. And you become a counter. And you become an analyzer of the mantras. What is Brahman according to Shankara? Somebody wrote. Shankara is confused. If Shankara is confused, the whole tradition is confused. You are also confused because you are at the end of the tradition here. Shankara is confused because Shankara sometimes says Brahman is Ishvara and sometimes he uses the words Bhagavan and Ishvara. So Shankara doesn't know what he is talking about. This is somebody, a neo-Vedantin, academic. That's why I call it academia. This is what it is. Forgetting the tradition, you can't just do whatever you feel like. Forgetting the weight of the tradition, you don't understand, and then because you don't understand, you just go off on a tangent. And so this kind of a heady analysis means that the pramata is refusing to get down from the self-constructed throne which is comprised, which comprises only books. A throne of books. This pramata, the knower, the academic here standing for the one who meditates, the one who is extremely mental, pun intended, this person is sitting on a book of thrones. not Game of Thrones. Apparently, people keep talking of this Game of Thrones. I don't know what that is, but some show, right? Yeah, must be some show. Yeah, but here, it's not the Game of Thrones, it's a Book of Thrones. Book of papers, thrones, and manuscripts called Upanishads, etc. The person sits on that and says, I am the possessor of all these things. Nobody can dislocate me. The knower is sitting there, full of oneself, full of oneself. Ahankara is just, like the ever expanding universe, keeps on keeps on expanding. The physicists tell us that it's an ever expanding universe. And the galaxies that were, only so many billion light years away are this very far, 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 far. Now, it's like the dots on a balloon. On a deflated balloon, the dots are close together. Let's say it's a polka dotted balloon. Then you blow the air, the dots become further away from each other. Like that. Like that. This person's ahankara is bloating. And but the guru is trying to prick a pin. But the ahankara has helium. So it gives it escapes from the teacher. Constantly escapes from the teacher. The poor guru, the Upanishad is the pin, okay? Yeah. So the guru is going after this fellow because the fellow by mistake came to the teacher, and so the guru takes the job seriously and is going after this person with the little pin. And because the ahankara is soaring with the helium of all nonsense, and then it has just got this light-headed feeling, it is just going. Yeah, guru is grounded because, he's on the ground, practical, pragmatic. And the guru puts the pin aside and says, all right, let it be so. Bye-bye. More we shall see after a little break. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. 10 minutes and then we'll come back. And I will be sitting here. If there are any questions, you can ask. Yeah, chapter 15, very good. Yeah, I'm so happy. Awesome. Thank you for coming. Namaskar. Nice name you have. There is a person online today called Vedant. Wonderful name. Very nice name. And that you are studying Vedanta, you are living up to your name. Awesome. Okay, Kumkum. Take care. All my prayers are with you, Vedant. Keep studying. Where are you? Are you in India? Are you in America? Where are you? In Gujarat. Wonderful. Gujarat is a blessed place. Because there is a lot of spiritual quest there. People are very spiritual. You are a university professor. Wonderful. What do you teach? Where? In Ahmedabad or Vadodara? Where are you? You teach management. Wonderful. In Bhavnagar. Very nice. Yeah, wonderful. Keep studying. The other day, you talked about gender identity being the most difficult to let go. Analysis shows that the body identity of most of the identity is easier to understand and negate. Then, along with that, gender identity should also go, isn't it? Yeah, it's one thing. We can't. Here, the anubhava is more important than the study. Yeah. So, sometimes, you can you can analytically negate. But then, supposing some pain starts to happen, the best of Vedantins, what happens is that all they need is a little paper cut, not even a real cut with a knife. Sometimes the rough edges of the sharp edges of the paper, it's called a paper cut. So then you see how much of a Vedantin they are, because then the whole day they are nurturing that cut and then keeping it out of the water and out of all the hot things, cups of tea, etc. So it's a process. It's knowing that it's a process. So gender identity is very difficult. That's why even in the new transgendered movement, where a lot of people are feeling like their gender assignment is different from the kind of what is in their mind, they have a very difficult time transitioning. That's what. And it's difficult for others as well. The people who are watching them, the parents, etc. Very difficult. Gender identity, very difficult. So gender identity is just before body identity. Yeah. That's how it is. Yeah. Gita chapter 6 verse 2 says that no one can become karma yogi without renouncing desires. I struggle with this verse, that being in multiple roles, we do have longings for each role. Yeah, you let that longing be there, you shine the light of you witness the longing. Yeah, you witness the longing, okay? You start off by witnessing the longing. Before one is witless, but then from witless, you get into the state of witness. When you witness the longing, it goes away. And you do the role just from the sense of duty, and you do the role for the sake of Bhagavan. Don't do the role, don't fall in love with the role. You say, I'm doing this for Bhagavan's sake because Bhagavan has made me a daughter, a mother, whatever it is you are. So you do the role for Bhagavan, okay? And that's what it means, surrendering to Bhagavan as you do the role, and then you don't take on the roles. It seems that inauthenticity is almost requisite in vyavaharik interactions. How is this different for the self-knowledge, one with self-knowledge, who interacts vyavaharically? Very good question, fantastic question. Oh, here comes my little booster drink. Thank you. So, fantastic question. Very fantastic question. I would say that, yes, it is true that as long as one is caught in vyavahara, inauthenticity is the rule of the day. Definitely, there is no going away from inauthenticity. But for the one with self-knowledge, the whole world is as though, and the whole world is not separate from oneself. As though doesn't mean, you are dismissing it. It's not separate from oneself. And I can only give you how my Guru, Pujya Swamiji, would lead his life and interacting with people vyavaharically. He was a person who was incapable of seeing anything that was wrong. He saw everything in the best light and in the most objective light. And even if somebody told him such a person is doing this, and they have to be removed from this particular post and whatnot, he would the way he would deal with trying to diffuse a particular situation was from the standpoint of what is best for the situation, what is best for that person, and what is, what is important for the time being. And authenticity means accepting that everyone else, around you might be inauthentic, and you are not the whistleblower. You are accepting the fact that in samsara, in the vyavaharika, there is inauthenticity. And when you accept that expression, it becomes Ishwarized. It is very beautiful. I will share a story that Pujya Swamiji told me from my own life experience. It was just very amazing. I was in charge of something. That Swamiji had asked me to do, take care of a project. And the project involved thousands of dollars. And I was in the very unenviable situation. I was in the unenviable situation of discovering that somebody was making off with the money. That the money that was assigned to the monies that were assigned to the project were not going towards the project. There was a leak, and I found out that it is being siphoned off elsewhere. Now what was I to do? I was just I didn't know what to do. So I took it to Swamiji, I took it to Pujya Swamiji, and I said, this is what is happening, and what do we do here? And Swamiji thought about it, because this was all, connected to, it was a very delicate situation. It was a very involved and delicate situation. It was not just a question of outing the wrongdoers, because the wrongdoers were hiding behind so many curtains of so many things. It was very difficult. And it was not, we did not have the proper kind of things to out the wrongdoers. And so many things were there. There were so many blockages to do that. And so he said to me, instead of telling me what to do, he just left it to me, but he told me a story. And he said, this was the story he said. He said that let's say you have a lot of bees that you're keeping for the sake of what? Honey. So you have a beehives, in your backyard. Okay? And then so you cannot go and squeeze the honeycomb for the honey. And so you hire some people to squeeze the honeycomb and to give you the honey. And you notice one day that you are walking in your backyard, and the person who is supposed to squeeze the honeycomb, they were supposed to squeeze the honeycomb and put it in the bottles like this, but then you see the person go like this instead. They lick the honey. They don't squeeze it into the bottle. What do you do? And of course, at that time, what did I say? I said, you catch the person, you apprehend the person. And then you take them, you fire them. And Pujya Swamiji said, wrong. I said, okay, what do we do? He said, you look the other way. You look the other way. And to me at that time, it took me a long time to understand what he was talking about. I struggled with this. I struggled with trying to understand, and of course I had Shraddha. I said, this is the Guru is saying this, so something is here for me to learn. I struggled with this very much. Before eventually understanding it, I struggled with it for many months. I said, what does this mean? You look the other way. Aren't we being inauthentic if we look the other way? But then it's all about the contingency. And in looking the other way, there is so much authenticity and so much Shraddha in the fact that it will all be taken care of. And it was. And this you see repeatedly in the lives of saints. And you hear these stories, and and one story that repeatedly comes is one saint was always keeping 17 rupees in that time under his bed, Under his bed means some, small, thin quilt, mattress, whatever he was sleeping under. And 17 rupees was the cost to bury or burn somebody, to cremate or burn the body. So he didn't want to be what's its name, the burden on the community. So he was keeping that for his burial. And then, what happened, and then, he had a overzealous Shishya. The Shishya would say, Swamiji, I'm going to make your bed. Okay. I'm going to clean your room. Okay. I'm going to fix your dinner. Okay. And while doing that, the Shishya was helping himself to the money every day, pocket money. Shishya was, swaha of the pocket money. How did the saint react? This is very beautiful. The saint reacts here in this. This is a story, but it's a true story. The saint reacts by going out into the square and begging for more money every day, and and somebody asks him, you just have to ask, we'll give you whatever you want. Why do you keep wanting money every day? Because they have seen that he just wears rags and he's not interested in anything. They know that he's a true sadhu. Why do you want money? And he says, because I want to make sure that the lifestyle of this boy who is helping me is not comes to any kind of grief. Because he is stealing only because there is some kind of a pressure to steal. That pressure is recognized compassionately. And that's what the second meaning, Sanniruddham Manohridi, that we talked about. That pressure is recognized. You don't see the action, you see the compulsion behind the action. That is what the thing is. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sanniruddham Manohridi means do a crash course in sainthood. That's what it is. Allow this thinking back and forth, this reactive place of the mind, to just settle down. Respond instead from that softness that is often missing, sadly, even in the study of Vedanta. It just becomes some kind of a, all on the level of discourse. And one goes off course, of course. Yeah. Yeah. It's all about cultivating that softness. That softness is also there as a potential. It comes out when one is in nature, because nature doesn't talk back. It comes out in front of Bhagavan. Bhagavan also doesn't talk back. Very clever. Yeah. It comes out in the faced with a small child, a helpless being who's unable to take care of itself. The smile of a child, a meadow of flowers, just one flower, enough to bring out that softness. But that softness is somewhere buried, hridi, buried under an avalanche of self-judgment, inner critic, outer critic, all of them holding hands. There's an avalanche. And under this avalanche is that softness saying, I'm alive, save me, help. Yes. This earthquake of mentation has disturbed this. And also in the contemporary world, everybody goes from the head. All the responses are from the head. They are not from the heart. That's another inauthenticity. It's all just calculations. What do I get out of it? What should I do? And it's all just space-time, saving. I want to hoard space. I want to hoard time. How is it going to benefit me? Is this a waste of my time? Why should I do this? And if I do this, I'm not going to do this. I'm a Vedantin, so I should not talk to anyone. Who said that? If you talk to somebody, what will happen? No, I should not do this, I should just go to the north of the North Pole. Oh, north of the North Pole? What is that? Kashi? No, north of Kashi. Uttara Kashi? North of Uttara Kashi. Oh, Vaishno Devi? North of Vaishno Devi. North of North Pole. I want to be alone. I want to just do this. If it comes, if it happens naturally, it's a different thing. But if it is a forced thing, then it interrupts the mumukshutvam. It interrupts the life of the jignasu. So it's all about softening like wax. When the fire of knowledge lights this lamp of this body-mind sense complex, one has to melt. One has to allow oneself to melt. Yes, one cannot be like a metal. Metal also has a melting point, but it's very high. Yeah. That's why the metals don't melt, they smelt. Yeah, so they smelt because they cannot melt. Too high. So many thousands of degrees centigrade they have to just be roasted in this fire permanently in order to have that. No, I'm more like wax, beeswax, Just allow that melting to take place. And this can be done with the help of small everyday exercises. Because the first thought when you wake up is what? What is today? Oh my God, what do I have to do? Oh my God. Oh, it's the weekend. Oh, but still there is 1 month course. So this is what is called the chatter that keeps one on the shallow workings, the shallow levels of the mind. The deep level, the deepest level of the mind is what is called the heart here. And this has been mapped according to the brain waves. And that brain waves of the everyday vyavaharic activities which keep us on the shallow levels of thinking is just, what is that called? Alpha waves or whatever it is called. And it is just very shallow, where the focus is lacking, where, things like, what is that called? ADHD and diseases like that have predominated. No focus. Dependence on yantras, starting with the phone, Before it was Shri Yantra, now it is iPhone. That's what it is. That's why it's called iPhone. I is equal to phone. It's an equation. Like Tattvamasi, iPhone. Yeah. Keeps it on the level of the I. And that I is a very, is a very impermanent, shallow, ahankara level I. So therefore, I start the day differently. And that's very important. Because one gets routinized. So one can have a meditation with oneself, which starts with softening the gaze. Because sometimes what happens is that the gaze itself is so sharp, there is fire coming out of the eyes, and then one cannot stand. Oh, who put this in the middle of the room? A child. Why? Why did you do that? First thing in the morning, it's all gone. Haven't I told you to take this, to where it belongs? Already gone. So, do you mean that if I am a Vedantin, I should live like a pig? No, that's not, we don't go to extremes. Softening the gaze, meaning look at that. Yes, it needs to be picked up. Yes. Yes, somebody did, slacked off. Somebody dropped the ball. That's why it's in the middle of the floor. Okay. Yes. Soften. Because really your reactivity is really reacting to something unkempt here. You spot it, you got it. So it's not what is lying in the middle of the floor. It's in an objective way, it cannot elicit this kind of a reaction. If that reaction is there in this example, it is because something is there that needs to be looked at and attended to here, badly, madly, quickly. And this is what is called a transference, an adhyasa, where I am projecting what I cannot stand here outside. And that projecting takes many, many forms. This is one form where it is all projected outside. And sometimes it takes the form of, I am useless, I am, an idiot. Why do I even start? This is my biography. So every day, self-sahasranama in terms of 1,000 curses directed on the self. Yesterday also I was wrong, today also I am wrong, namaha, tomorrow also wrong. Namaha means helpless, this is how it's going to be. Tomorrow also I am going to be wrong, namaha. Vedanta is not doing anything to me, namaha. In spite of attending classes, I am like this, namaha. This is how these thoughts come. And you can interrupt. That is how the ahankara has to be, hitched differently. It has to be hitched to the service of the vidya, to the service of the authentic self. And it's a very good helper, the ahankara. And so therefore, you have to, redirect it from this kind of a morning, because the morning is everything I have found. If the morning starts wrong, the whole day is upside down. So you soften your reactivity, and even if you cannot, even if you are not ready to go inside and see what is there, and sometimes you don't even know what is there, it's okay. You just soften the gaze. Starts by softening the gaze. Soften the face, like the Buddha in meditation, not all scrunched up and wrinkled. Soft. Soft is the face. Soft are the emotions. Soft is my reaction. Rather, it's a response. Take the time. When somebody says something, don't immediately lash out, because that's that inauthentic self. Take the time. Sit with it. Even if you don't like it, let the volcano subside. And when the lava has completely cooled down to 0 degrees, then you can say that, I don't think I misplaced it. I don't know where it is. Simple. Soft. Soft, soft, soft. Soft is, soft is the self. Soft is you. Soft is the study of Vedanta. Soft is the world. Soft is Bhagavan. And that Bhagavan is you. Aham is equal to soft. That is equal to moksha, really. That softening is called sanniruddham manohridi, on the level of everyday practice. Tada ayati atmano bhavam. And then what? Then because of that, because of being in touch with my authentic expression of the self, the personality is falsified, leading to the person, that is Paramam Padam. Parama is that which is the person, Purushaha, not personality. Personality is that which comes and goes. That is the inauthentic self. Likes, dislikes, longings, fears, tears, that is what the personality is, is full of, is composed of. So the personality, the ality is gone, the ality is suspended or falsified or seen for what it is, and the person, which is one in everyone, and that person is called Purusha, who is the Lord of the universe. Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasrakshas Sahasrapat. That which is, all eyes are the eyes of this Purusha. All feet are the feet of this Purusha. Everything is nothing but this Purusha alone. The Purusha is the person, and to get to the Purusha, which is what? Which is really the person, one has to interrogate and suspend the personality. Falsify the personality, not dismiss it, falsify it in the light of the knowledge. The personality then remains as a glorious appendage. Like even the personality of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna has a personality. It's not like after Vedanta, why are you looking like this? I have self-knowledge. But then why do you have to look like this? Because without personality, so I have to just be serious, and because smiling means personality, and so I can't have fun, and because it's all, that's personality. I can't be frivolous because that's personality. I can't have a single ragadvesha, that's personality. What about the ragadvesha of not having ragadveshas? Well, I'm not there yet, but still, I have no personality. It's not that you become like, tofu, yeah. Vedantin is not tofu. Yeah. Tofu before it enters the stir fry. Okay? Yeah, not after. After that it picks up a little personality, but nonetheless it's just completely bland. That's not the point. Look at Lord Krishna. Stands in Tribhangi. It's like a wave of Ananda. 3 bends. Meaning you can't catch Ananda. But it is yet very catching. That's why his name is Krishna. Karshati Sarvan. Attracts everyone. And all the milkmaids are in love with him. Oh, this is a problem. What about the husbands of the milkmaids? They don't object? No, because they are in love with him too. That's what it is. He's all love. And then, peacock feather dancing in the hair, flute, pitambaradhari, kunjavihari. And then, yellow, likes yellow color. All these are ragadveshas, correct? But those ragadveshas are non-binding, toothless ragadveshas. They become vibhutis, they become the glories. So it's not that the personality is not discarded in the face of the knowledge. The personality is, made puta, made, what is that called? Purified. The personality is purified by the fire of knowledge so that it is disengaged from the person. It becomes an attribute, and as though attribute, a dispensable attribute. That's why if you run away with a flute, Krishna is not going to come after you and say, how am I going to sleep tonight? I need that music, otherwise I can't sleep. No. Or it's a divine flute, give it back. No such thing. So the personality becomes dispensable, in the light of this teaching, and the revelation of the person as the truth of oneself is so all-encompassing that the personality gets disengaged from masquerading as the person. That's the best way to put it. So the tada ayati paramam padam. Then the question comes. I think I understand you. Abba, thank God. Yeah. But, I knew this was coming because whenever there is a compliment, there is a but behind it. Thank you for the wonderful class, and I'm waiting. But, however, the class was great. But, what is the but? But I have a question. Okay, what is your question? The question is, how long to be soft? Yeah. Fabric softener, you put in there is one thing, fabric softener you have to put, and then you put the fabric in the spin cycle. That's what it takes also here. You put some softener in the forms of these words of the Upanishad, and then you let the mind soak in that and spin in that. That's what you have to do. But how long to be soft? How long to meditate? How long should I keep the mind under the discipline? How long should the ahankara be sat upon and so that it doesn't go everywhere and create havoc? How long should I restrain all these things? Because I need to know. Because I have things to do, places to go, people to see. And I have to harden myself because I am in the vyavahara. So you better tell me how long. 1 day I can do. 2 days, difficult, but I can do. But if you have to tell me how long I have to do this. Because then I'll be on top. Because now the ahankara is still, it's still there, and the ahankara says, okay, 1 month course, 30 days, no problem. The next verse is going to address the length of time. It's going to reveal exactly how long this has to be done in order to get Paramam Padam. Yeah, so what does it say? It says Tavadeva Nirodhavyam Yavad Hridi Gatam Kshayam. Ayyayo. What to do now? What to do now? Tavadeva Nirodhavyam. Tavat means until then. Oh. So the time is given. Yippee! The time is given. That means, it's going to tell me how long I have to do this whole exercise that has taken 2.5 classes to explain, So how long I have to do this? How long I have to soften? How long I have to concentrate on the authentic expression of myself? How long do I have to study? How long do I have to discipline the mind? And to put the ahankara on dry bread and water diet, how long I have to do that? Yavad hridi. And how long should the ahankara sit in the heart and be imprisoned in the heart? How long should I soften? Yavad hridi gatam kshayam. Until it disappears. Ayyayo. What am I in for? Yes. Until it. It here means you can take it as manaha or you can take it as ahankara. Until it, yavad hridi gatam kshaya. Kshaya means until it decays. Until it is composted. That's a better one. Yeah. Until it is composted into the fertilizer for the knowledge. And that composting takes a long time. And especially in the case of the mind, it has a lot of non-biodegradable attributes. Raga dveshas are all made of thermocol. Thermocol means styrofoam. Yeah. So these styrofoam raga dveshas, they are not going to biodegrade easily. So therefore, what do you have to do? Sit on the ahankara until it disappears. Hey Rama, how to do that? How to do that is, fortunately, we don't have to speculate because it's going to be given in, verses 7, 8, etc. It's going to unfold. That is the subject matter of this Upanishad, is how to do that. So it's going to go near its subject matter. It's going to reveal everything very quickly. So Tavadeva Nirodhavyam Yavad Hridi Gatam Kshayam. And Kshaya here means the not just decay but the transformation. Because along with decay comes transformation. Like even a banana peel, you put it in the ground, after a few weeks it has become fertilizer. So let the ahankara that's being sat upon and composted, let it transform into a trustworthy aid for the gain of the knowledge. Let it become a helper. Right now it is saying, I am the one. It is not the one. So disconnect from the ahankara and then slowly, let it become a helper. So displace and disconnect the ahankara and let it become the helper. And how to do that is given in two ways. One is from the standpoint of the lifestyle of Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, we have seen very, very briefly, is deliberately removing yourself as the author and the recipient of action. As the agent and the recipient of action, you remove yourself. Oh, that's easy. I can just go to that happy place. I am not doing anything. Nothing is happening. No, that's not Karma Yoga. You have to bring in Bhagavan as the true author and as the one who is in charge of dispensing the results or the fruits of action. But you said, I am Bhagavan. Yes. But then why to bring in Bhagavan? Do you know you are Bhagavan? On good days, all right. So until on bad days also you know you are Bhagavan, you have to bring in Bhagavan, because surrender, devotion and surrender is a preparation or preparatory steps for the knowledge. The ahankara has to learn to bend. And so the ahankara gives up on the day-to-day level. It's a practice where it gives up its, ill-begotten agency, notion of agency, and the notion of victimization. It gives up both at the altar of surrender, which is called Bhagavan. So it brings in Bhagavan as a stand-in, who is the Karta, who is everything, who is the dispenser of the result of action. I am neither the agent, nor the producer, nor the recipient of the results of action. Step number 1. Step number 2, whatever comes is acceptable, is accepted, like even prasada given at the temple. At the temple you get prasad, one day it may be laddu, another day it may be just water, third day you may not even get that, because the one who was dispensing the water did not see you, you came late. So like this, you are okay with what is. So the prasada is a buddhi, is an attitude towards with which you greet all the things in life. Prasada, 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 prasada. It's all just is. And so that greeting is what is, the attitude I have to gain. This is what is karma yoga. That is a very quick recipe to softening, because I am in acceptance. So that is, karma yoga, if it is done properly, is a form of open eye meditation, lifelong meditation, to gain the preparation for the knowledge. Then also you can have the practice of meditation for the 2 blocks that stop one from expressing oneself authentically, which is chitta ashuddhi and chitta chanchalyam. Chitta ashuddhi is the association with all the longings, and then chanchalyam is the movement of the mind, the restlessness, where it is always distracted. So the distraction and the antahkarana ashuddhi are the 2 blocks. So those are the 2 blocks. And so those are, chitta nischalata. Chitta nischalata means the steadying the mind so that it doesn't run after all kinds of pursuits and preoccupations, freeing it of preoccupations, so that you can direct it towards Paramam Padam is called Dhyanam here. And that Dhyanam is through the practice of meditation. What we did yesterday, what we'll see tonight, is that, making the mind just always focus on, giving it a mantra to focus on, so that it's always repeating that mantra. So that when you're not meditating also, the mind is available to you, so that you can have the freedom of thinking rather than being run by the ahankara and go into some kind of routine or mechanical thinking. So this is a gift of meditation. And antahkarana ashuddhi is remedied by karma yoga. Ragadvesha kshaya, the decay and the composting of the ragadveshas take place in karma yoga very quickly. Because karma yoga means everything that I'm doing for the sake of Bhagavan, and so my likes and dislikes don't come into the picture. This is what has to be done, therefore it is being done from the place of it has to be done. Simple. So therefore, this is how the whole thing takes place, that transformation. And then he says, Tavadeva nirodhavyam. So this should be a pleasurable, practice, because it is leading to self-growth. You think karma yoga is pleasurable. In fact, it is the most painful thing. So do it until it becomes pleasurable. Because you can't always do what you like. Better learn to like whatever needs to be done. That's what it is. You grow into a person who likes whatever there is to do. Pujya Swamiji was asked by a small child, what is it that you love to do? What is it that you hate to do? There is nothing that is there to hate to do. Oh, but there are many things I don't like to do. Pretend you like them and do them first. This is what you teach your children. Eat what you don't like. That's what it is. Eat what you don't like first. That's what every parent tells the child. But forgets themselves that this is an advice that they can themselves take. Do what you don't like to do. You do that first. And until how long I have to do it? Till I like what I don't like. You grow into liking what you have to do. And here, even though the disciplining of the mind is, the mind has already started to throw tantrums and the ahankara is running away, like that helium balloon. More about that is going to come here. In the last part, I'm saving that. I haven't forgotten. I'm saving it. So, the ahankara is running away and the ahankara is very upset. What am I supposed to do? How long I have to do this? This is such a boring practice. No, you have basically transformed my life. And now, in these 2 classes, you are telling me what to do with the mind, what not to do. And it is already, it is rebelling, It is rebelling. It's very upset. Because it's being incarcerated. It thinks it's being incarcerated and nobody wants to be in a prison. And this mind is being imprisoned because of some stupid Paramam Padam. Who knows where this Paramam Padam is? Right now I want this Padam. And this Padam, this goal is, right now I want to be free of you. That is what I want. That is my Padam and it looks pretty Paramam to me right now. So what are you doing here? How long I have to do this? Until you don't need to do it any longer. Until the distasteful activity of suspending the judgment, of softening the mind, of disciplining the mind becomes tasteful. That is what it is. Oh, so we are in here, we are in this for the long haul, aren't we? Yes. Isn't there any other way? Some shortcut, like crash course, 1 month course, crash course, weekend course, And the Upanishad puts it very beautifully. I can't better it at all. It says, Sheshaha, if you're looking for something else, Nyayascha Vistaraha. Nyaya here, it can be read in many ways. This Upanishad has a lot of hidden meanings. Every Upanishad does. So first meaning, Sheshaha Nyayascha Vistaraha, it's making fun of logic and the mind because all this is just verbiage. Like the Nayayikas, the logicians and, when the logicians and all these people, these kinds of people get together. All these, academics get together, then what happens? Nothing gets done. Nothing gets done at all. Yeah. You want to hear a story?
Yes.
Okay. So, there were 3 friends. One was a Nayayika, logician, okay? And then the other friend was a musician, all these Ians, okay? Yeah. So, logician, musician, and the third friend was an astrologer. Okay? So then all 3 of them got together and they said, let us have dinner. Their wives were out of town, so they said, okay, we will cook something. And the musician, who also happened to be a cook, he said, I'm going to direct this whole, I'm going to orchestrate this cooking. And he told the logician, go to the market and buy some ghee, for the food, correct? And then he told, who else was there? The astrologer. He told the astrologer, go to the sabji mandi, meaning where the vegetables are there, and buy some, what is that? Spinach. We'll have, I'll make dal, we'll have spinach dal, I'll make the dal and rice, but we need ghee and spinach is not there at home. So they all trotted off duly to do their thing, correct? And then what happened? Let's go to the astrologer first. Astrologer bought the spinach all right, but then it so happened that there was a donkey on the road giving birth to a baby donkey. Of course, it will not give birth to a baby human, So it was giving birth to a baby donkey, and the astrologer got very excited because he started to do the horoscope of the baby donkey. Why is it born as a donkey? Why not as a human being? Why is this jiva being born as a donkey? Oh, let us see the donkey's prarabdha. Oh, it's going to get kicked. Oh, it may not live too long. And he got so engrossed in drawing up the birth chart of the baby donkey that he kept the spinach unattended. Spinach was unattended, okay? What happened to the unattended spinach? Mummy donkey, who has just given birth, she said, oh, iron-rich food. So the poor mother donkey who had exerted herself and given birth to this useless baby donkey, as the chart has shown, and was hungry. And she ate the entire spinach, and so the astrologer went back to the market, but then the market had dispatched itself because he went at the last minute. There was no market, everybody had sold everything and gone home. What happened to the logician? The logician also did not have much luck at the oil seller, ghee seller's place. He bought the ghee all right, and then the oil seller put the ghee and then in a kind of a disposable container, made of leaves, and then he also made a leaf lid based on that disposable container, and then he handed it, very ingeniously made. And the logician started to make calculations on whether the lid is holding the ghee or the pot is holding the lid. And then, he said the only way to find out is to tilt it. So he tilted it and of course lost all the ghee. Lapped up by all the dogs and cats. Street dogs and street cats thought there is bhandara. They thought this is wonderful. Usually we get kicks, today we are getting ghee. You think the musician was angry because they both came empty-handed? No, the musician had his own adventure in the meantime, because he just sat down to boil the water, and when the water started to boil and the bubbles came, and he started to find out which notes the bubbles are coming in, which raga, which shruti, is it a C sharp, is it D minus, is it sa, is it ni, is it da. So he started to sing along with the water boiling, and he also neither made the dal nor the rice. So this is what happens when when there is this preoccupation with logic and with these kinds of things. This is a very ironic or sarcastic usage. Shesho nyayascha vistarah. All this is just riffraff. Nothing is going to come out of this. Nothing at all is going to come out of this. Just rubbish. That's all it is. Just talk. Verbiage. Everything else is just talk. Catch the nose, somebody says. Just talk. Nothing is going to happen out of catching the nose. Catch the toes. Catch this, catch that. Cross the fingers, cross the eyes, cross the legs, cross this, cross that. You can all cross those out as means to moksha. They may be auxiliary means, but they are not the primary methods. This, alas, dear friends, is the only way. It's the only way, because the problem is such that the problem is not really a problem. The problem is because of self-confusion. Self-confusion is alleviated by self-knowledge. Self-ignorance is the antidote for self-ignorance is self-knowledge. Therefore, shesho nyayascha vistaraha. Rest of it is just riffraff. All this useless verbiage. All the serious discussion, what's going to happen to the state of the world, what's going to happen to the economy, what's going to happen to the elections, what's going to happen to me, what am I going to do about this, oh this is important, this is so important, what am I going to wear, all these things are just reduced to a pile of what? Mental words. Just a heap of words. Shabda rashihi. All mental preoccupations are just words, 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 words. That's what Hamlet said. Hamlet was reading a book and to assess his mental well-being, and everybody thought something is wrong. So the king sent the minister, Polonius, to find out how his mental state is. Hamlet, what do you read? He says, words, words, words. Polonius comes back and reports to the father, the king. He's mad all right, but there is a method to his madness. That's all it is. Samsara means madness. And the only feeling is that there is a method to this madness because everybody seems to be methodically mad. Yeah, that's all it is. There's just a lot of solace in the fact that everybody else is also mad. Yeah, that's what it is. This is a madhouse. And so, sanity here means tavadeva nirodhavyam yavad hridi gatam shayam. Better discipline the mind, better, subject oneself to these teachings, better overcome the longings, and better soften the stance on all of this, better pursue the knowledge until the distaste from it has gone, until there is nothing more to fight with, there is nothing that is rubbing against this, until it becomes one's very nature, nothing more to do until that time. What about all the other activities? It's just verbiage. This is all just logical verbiage. It sounds logical, but it is verbiage. That's the first meaning and the predominant meaning. What is the secondary meaning? The secondary meaning is that sheshaha nyayascha vistaraha. The vistaraha means elaboration. It's an elaboration of verbiage. First meaning. Second meaning is that you can bring in nyaya or shruti anukula yuktihi, a logic that is in keeping with the shruti to help yourself understand this. Because in this thing, you can cognitively help the mind to see why it needs to be disciplined. So it's a job of bringing in the nyaya, bringing in the logic and all the other ways in which the convincing persuasive powers in order to be of assistance here to help the mind to fall in groove with the teachings rather than, with the longings. So that is the secondary meaning. Understood? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then it is, so sheshaha nyayascha vistaraha, and then we have saved the best for the last. Etad jnanam cha dhyanam cha. This is both the end and the means. Beautifully put. Etad jnanam. First thing, this is knowledge. What is knowledge? Tavadeva nirodhavyam yavad hridi gatam kshayam, until the ahankara is snuffed out from its pursuit of activities and from its masquerading as the self, until it is redirected to being the helper, and until one softens to the point of allowing that compassion to override all other emotions, and until one is in the place of what? In a place of receptivity, compassion, kindness, in a place of study, in a place where one is directing oneself from pursuing objects to pursuing the subject, which is equal to the pursuit of knowledge, that alone is knowledge. Etad this is etad jnanam means this is knowledge, this is moksha, this is paramam padam, this is also the means. This is the primary means. And then it is also disciplining the mind is also meditation, correct? So from the standpoint of the finite, from the standpoint of the Vyavaharika, the preparation for the knowledge, an important preparation is meditation, which quietens the mind. Meditation quietens the mind, and so it's an important preparation. Etad jnana, jnanam cha, this is knowledge. Dhyanam cha, this is the preparation. So this is knowledge, this is preparation. What is the rest of it? The rest of it is just talk. That's all. Nothing. That this is it. If this is there, Paramam Padam is assured. If this is not there, you just are, like the logician, the astrologer and the musician, each one is having their own pursuit and each one forgets what really needs to be cooked is the ahankara. Yeah. So in the course of the study, we had that example of the person sitting on a throne of books, like a helium balloon, full of themselves, and that is a very sad state. Shesho nyayascha vistaraha. That person will never gain the knowledge. You cannot take this course of study thinking that at the end of it, I'm going to grab this and I'm going to do this. And in fact, you cannot say you cannot have the desire to be a teacher. But that desire, even if it is there, it is best suspended. And you just learn to gain this knowledge. Just for the sake of this knowledge, not for the sake of writing books, because I want to write. Oh, I have a doubt. I already know everything. I have a doubt. I'm just going to gain this to write a chapter in the book. This is not this is not the use of this knowledge. That is that is shesho nyayascha vistaraha. When the knowledge is used for, these kinds of situation, then the knowledge is not going to bless you. It's not going to transform you. Because like our academic sitting on the book of thrones, like a helium balloon rising above everything else, that ahankara will never be deflated. Will always, because the knower, this knowledge displaces the knower. Because when you say I am knower, then I am not anything else. It's a very limited identification. And so to identify as the limitless, all these limitations are knocked off by the sake of for the sake of the knowledge, by the knowledge, for which one has to be available. The knower has to be available to be knocked off. Cannot keep dodging the guru all the time. And the dodging takes many forms. I'll attend every third class. Enough. Because I don't want to completely go into this and then, come out of this. No. I don't want to do that. So I just keep a little bit of moksha is enough. Moksha is an ornament, like a flower in the hair. That's enough. Just a little bit. I should just have a little smattering of what moksha is to talk about at parties. That is not how one is going to bless the knowledge, be blessed by the knowledge. So moksha again is not something that is, some kind of a striving. All this has to be understood. And that dalliance with the knowledge, I stop the dalliance with the knowledge and submit to the knowledge. I allow myself to be transformed. That is what the Upanishad expects of us when we get into this study. No, but that is fearful. That fear is going to be addressed. Oh, but it's painful. That pain is also going to be, let go of. There are ways to let go of the fear and pain. We cannot believe in in the transient fear and pain. We cannot believe in it and enshrine it as though it is real. So, etad jnanam cha. This is the end. This is also the means in terms of meditation. Sheshaha, everything else is just what? An empty noise, cacophony, like the Tower of Babel. Tower of Babel, nobody understood what anybody was talking about because everybody was talking at the same time. So therefore, this is what it says. So now the meditation is described very beautifully in the next mantra. Swarena sandhayedhyogam Aswaram bhavayet param Aswarenanubhavena Bhavo na bhava ishyate. Yeah, very beautiful mantra talking about meditation. Swarena. Huh?
Skipped one.
Oh, skipped one. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, a small step before the meditation. All right, yeah. Ahead of ourselves. Naiva chintyam na chachintyam.
Naiva chintyam na chachintyam.
Na chintyam chintyameva cha.
Na chintyam chintyameva cha.
Pakshapata vinirmuktam.
Pakshapata vinirmuktam.
Brahma sampadyate tada.
Brahma sampadyate tada.
Yeah, it's talking about the as though paradoxy. Very beautiful. All those as though paradoxes which constitute Vedanta are being talked about. The word chintyam has a preponderance here. And each chintyam, how many times does it occur? Please tell me. This time we are going to count. Yeah. 4 times. Each one has a different meaning. That's all. So, na eva chintyam. First chintyam means this is not an object of your thought. Na eva chintyam idam. This knowledge that we are after is not an object of your thought. Na cha achintyam cha. But again, the next chintyam means, but then again, that doesn't mean you shouldn't pursue it. So, the next chintyam means that which is a pursuit. It is not an object of thought, but don't stop pursuing it. Na cha achintyam. And then what? Na chintyam, meaning. So, naiva chintyam, meaning what? What was the first chintyam? It is not an object of thought, but at the same time, it should be pursued. Na chintyam, even though it is not an object, chintyameva cha, the consistent enquiry must be done. So the word play is clearly on the word chintyam. Chinta means pursuit, contemplation, enquiry, thought. All those word meanings are there. That's why you can use it in so many different words. Pakshapata vinirmuktam. Vinirmuktam, having been freed of. What? Pakshapata. Paksha means wing. Pramoda uttara pakshaha. Yeah. Like this. Paksha means wing. Usually wings belong to what? Birds. But here we are not talking of bird. We are talking of, the proverbial meaning of the wing, as in left wing, right wing. That wing. Pata, falling into. Pakshapata, falling into a kind of a dogged beliefs, notions. That is what is the wing. Falling into either wing, whichever wing it is. Falling into the wings of supporting opposites. Duality. Falling into any kind of this or that. In other words, reproducing that duality consistently. Vinirmuktam, freed of that duality. Then what? Then what happens? Brahma sampadyate. We were just talking of mind and Atmano Bhavam. That Atmano Bhavam has somehow become Brahman without any celebration, without drum roll, without introduction. How? How is that possible? That is how, because that Atma which you are seeking happens to be Brahman. And more we will see on Tuesday. Tuesday at tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. Forgot. Yeah, tomorrow, not Tuesday. Cancel that. Tomorrow, 7:30. We'll do these two verses. Okay? Yeah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Yeah, today there is a lot of classes. What is the coffee class? The coffee class is coming in the afternoon, 12 o'clock, meaning it's not a class about coffee, it's the class after coffee. And then at 4 o'clock we have Panchadashi, 6 o'clock we have a small meditation. Come to all of them. Okay. Since we have had questions during the break, I'm hoping I don't know if there are any questions here. Yeah. Om. Om Namah.